Good morning, children. So today we are going to start a new lesson. Now, before starting, let us see this picture. So you have seen the image of a particular very prominent person. So have you seen this person? Have you seen the picture, or do you know him? Now, he is certainly Jack Finney. Have you read any book by Jack Finney? So what is the particular field in which Jack Finney is famous? Can you tell? So he is famous in a particular genre or a kind that is called science. S-C-I-E-N-C is science fiction. F-I-C-T-I-O-N, science fiction. Now, my dear children, did you learn any science fiction earlier in class 11? Do you remember? Yes, you studied the lesson, The Adventure by Jayant Narlikar, and that was also a science fiction. That there also we can see the movement of the time from the past to the present. Therefore, in this lesson also we will come to know a lot of things, and particularly we will be talking about a modern man and his worries and his problems. And before that let us see this title, the first lesson. Now, dear children, so we will be starting with this lesson. The name of the lesson is the third level. The name of the lesson is the third level, and here the writer is Jack Finney. The writer is Jack Finney. So you will see it is better to know something about Jack Finney and its publication or the work. Then we can have a hint about his way of writing, and we can get some sort of a hint about the theme of the lesson also. Now, Jack Finney, he was an American author. He was best known for his science fiction and thrillers, including The Body Snatcher and Time and Again. The Body Snatcher was the basis for 1956 film Invasion of the Body Snatcher and its remorse. Now, the writer was born in 2nd October 1911 and he died in the year 1995. Now, in this lesson we will see that this lesson was published in the year 1952 in the magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. In the magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. Now, my dear children, from this also, the particular magazine in which this lesson was published, from there also we can get the hint about the kind of the lesson or the specific genre. G-E-N-R-E, genre means kind, means what sort of lesson it is. So from this also we can come to know the particular place where it was published, and from the year also we can get a hint about the theme of his lesson 2. Now, my dear children, so before starting we will go to the board. My dear children, now in this lesson we will talk about psychology. We will talk about psychology. Now, my dear children, what does psychology exactly means? Can you tell? So, psychology is the systematic study of the mind. It talks about the mind. Now, so mind is having 3 stages. My dear children, there are 3 stages. One is conscious mind, C-O-N-S-C-I-O-U-S, conscious. Another one is subconscious, S-U-B-C-O-N-S-C-I-O-U-S, subconscious. And another one is unconscious, unconscious. unconscious mind. Now we will see here also we will see the psychological interpretation of the mind and how the mind actually works. So my dear children, so when we are very much aware, so when we are doing our activity very deliberately and very knowingly, that means it is the conscious mind that works. And when we are sleeping, our mind goes to the level of subconscious, okay, stage. This is a level of subconsciousness. And when particularly people actually faint, okay, when the people faint, then they are in the unconscious state, or they are in the stupor, stupor, or they are senseless, means they lose their senses. So now my dear children, we will see how this mind actually make movements here. So that we will see here how the mind travel. Now my dear children, mind and modern man, okay, modern man. So can you tell what are the characteristics of the modern man? So what is the peculiarity of the modern man? So it actually relates to the modern world. So what is the type of the world that we live? This is a world where there is a total insecurity, okay, there is a lot of insecurity, there is a fear, there are problems, there are stress, there is a hurry, all these problems exist in the modern life. And therefore what the modern man does, the mind of the modern man has a escapist attitude, okay, escape, their mind actually escape, that is called the escapism. When the mind escape from the present stage or the present modern life, and when it goes to another world, then we used to tell that this attitude is escapist attitude. Here also we will see in this lesson, we will begin to see that the mind escape to another world for some sort of respite, means some sort of rest, in order to get some rest. Because of what happened, the mind actually gets a lot of disturbance, lot of worries, stress, and because of that it wants to get some relaxation. And because of this my dear children, so they want to get relaxed. And in a way this modern days worries or sorrows, these are working as a catalyst. My dear children, do you know what is a catalyst? I suppose you are very much aware. So catalyst is that particular substance that helps in the chemical reaction. Am I correct? Therefore, in the preparation of the oxygen, the manganese dioxide that actually has to cause the chemical reaction speed up and take place, and therefore it is called the catalyst. In the similar manner, the worries of the modern time also, the worries, sorrows, the problem, insecurities, fear, all these actually are a kind of catalyst. And because of this, what happened, the mind actually swings, the mind moves, mind makes movement either to the forward or to the backward. Now in class 9 you have seen in the first chapter, the fun they had, we see that there was the movement towards future. There was the movement towards the future. So the year was 2157. So we can see that there is a Margie and there is a Tommy. They are the children of 2157, 22nd century. Therefore the mind went went there just to have a comparison to the modern system, this particular system of education. Now, my dear children, here we will see that the mind is going back. So, why the mind is going back? It actually recollects. It recollects. Now, what are the things that you recollect? The things that you recollect are those very precious moments of your life. Now, when you are a child, you are hopping and jumping, you are getting all sort of enjoyment, and there is no cares, no worries, no sorrows, and therefore when you are growing up, when you are crossing your childhood, when you are coming to your adolescence, when you are coming to your manhood, when you are coming to your old age, you are recollecting those golden period of your life, means you are going back to the time. So, in this lesson also, my dear children, we will see how the modern man, particularly the mind of the modern man, fluctuates. The mind goes back to the past in order to get relaxed, Therefore, here we will see that the mind goes back to 1894 means what century it is? It is 19th century. So, we are living in which century? We are living in the 21st century. Therefore, in the wings of imagination, what we will be doing? We will be making time travel. And we will be going back, and this will be helped by our protagonist. So, who is the protagonist here? So, the protagonist here is Charlie. Charlie is a person who works in an office in the capital of USA, in the New York City. He was working there, and he is the protagonist here. He is the hero here. He is the main character, and through him we will come to know how the mind moves, how the mind travels from the present to the past. So, what are the reason also? That also we will see. Now, let us go to the text. Now, my dear children, so he will see here. So, we are talking about the third level here, So, before starting, we will see the justification of the title, and then I will be telling you about the introduction. I will be telling you the major characters, and then I will be telling the summary, and then we will also be talking about the question and answer. I suppose you understood what is the type of this lesson that we are going to start. So, you are also going to get some hint about the theme also. Therefore, let us see it once again. Now, the title. So, you see the title, the third level. So, this third level indicates what? Literally speaking means when you go to the dictionary and we see the meaning, then we see that this level actually refers to the stage or the step. So, here we see the third level, it actually talks about the grand central. It talks about the grand central station. It talks about the Grand Central Station, and in the Grand Central, when you go there, you will see that how many layers, how many levels are there? Only 2 levels are there. But here you see, it talks not about 2 layers, it talks about the 3 layers or 3 levels. That means it is something not realistic, my dear children. This is something FAN TASTIC, something fantastic means something very weird, okay, something very unnatural, something very unnatural, something very imaginative, okay, something not so realistic. Now, my dear children, you will be asking, sir, if it is not a realistic, then what is the use of this third level? My dear children, you will see that. So, many a time what happen, you will see the fantastic things become so practical. Okay, we will be discussing that also while we will discuss the question and answer. So, I will be just giving one example here. So, when the Wright brothers first discovered the aeroplane, then it was just like somewhat like a fantastic, but when it become practical, then it becomes so real. Okay, nowadays the aeroplane means some dream come true. Therefore, my dear children, we will see this fantasy or the fantastic thing that is indulged by Jack Finney, and what is the reason also that we see. So, now here the main character, the protagonist is Charlie, and Charlie is a 31-year-old person, and he is a working person or a professional. He is working in an office in the central part of the USA, that is the capital of USA, in the New York City. And that day what happened, he worked late, and therefore he wanted to go home. It is at a distance from the city, and therefore he wanted to take a shortcut. He wanted to go to the second level, and from there he will be getting the buses where the suburban buses means SUBURB, suburb means the outskirt of the city, outskirt means the bordering area of the city. So, from there you can get the buses of the suburban buses, and that will be taking little less time, and therefore he went there. But what happened, there was some misadventure. He found a gateway, and because of this gateway, what happened, he went to the third level. After going to the third level, he discovered something very new. He never experienced earlier. And more particularly, what happened, in order to confirm, he saw many things there, and he just tried to see whether it was true or not. Therefore, he gave a lot of examples. So, from the text I will see how he tries to explain the scene. Now, let us just see. So, in the beginning you will see that in the first paragraph itself, the writer talk about the Grand Central Station, and he is telling that he was taking a shortcut. And then that shortcut actually took him to the third level, and he was telling that I have taken the obvious step. I talked to a psychiatrist, a friend of mine, among others. I told him about the third level at the Grand Central Station, and he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. My dear children, you see. So, now he had some experience, and the experience was quite unnatural, and therefore, as usual, what he did, he talked to his friend, and the friend was Sam Weiner. His friend was Sam, S-A. His friend was Sam, S-A-M. Sam Weiner. What was the profession of the friend? The profession of the friend was, he was a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist means the particular doctor or the specialist in the psyche, the specialty in the psyche. Psyche means the heart, means the heart problem. What are the modern people actually suffer? The modern people suffers from the psychological disorder. They will have the mental imbalance. They will go mad because of all sort of problem, and therefore this profession is a very promising profession, and therefore his friend was a psychiatrist. And the narrator Charlie went to his friend, told about his problem, and the friend initially told that it appears you are very unhappy. Then finally he told that you are living in a particular world, that the world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all and the rest of it. And because of this what you do, you escape. So this is the explanation of the psychiatrist, is that it is all because of the problem of the modern day life, that you have the attitude, you have the will to escape from the harsh reality, the tough reality of life, so that you can get some refuge. If you can get some refuge or shelter, you can get some shelter, you can get some respite from the modern worries. That was the explanation of his friend. Now see whether he is happy or not, and more particularly he actually also gives the hint that you should not actually look for the third level. It actually doesn't look good, because your mind may suffer a lot if you are searching for the third level in this manner, and particularly your wife Louisa also will mind it. That was the hint that was given by the psychiatrist friend. Now see, let us continue. The friend also told that his stamp collecting is also a particularly temporary refuge from reality. Means it is a kind of refuge, means shelter, temporary shelter from reality. And therefore what you are doing, so stamp collecting or first day cover or philately, gardening, listening to the song, all this actually belongs to the category of the hobby. Every man has the hobby, and the main purpose, the sole purpose of the hobby is to free your mind from the stress or the worry. And therefore the psychiatrist friend also told that your going to the third level, that actually really indicates that you want some sort of shelter, some sort of respite or rest from the worries of the modern life. Well, maybe, but my grandfather did not need any refuge from reality. Things were pretty nice and peaceful in his day, from all I hear, and he started my collection. It is a nice collection, 2 blocks of 4 of practically every US issue, first the cover and so on. President Roosevelt collected stamp too, Now see, so Sam told that during the time of the grandfather, so the things were pretty peaceful, and therefore they did not suffer any kind of mental disorder, and therefore they did not do what? They did not have the attitude like us. Therefore, he also mentioned that the President Roosevelt also had the hobby of collecting the stamp, and then that is also a kind of escape, that is also a kind of escape that is indicated by this lesson, the third level. Now, let us see the next part. So, here we will see so Charlie is going to the third level. So, you have seen here we will see this is the picture of the Grand Central. So, you will see this is the Grand Central. Now, you have been to the metro rail station in Delhi or in Calcutta. So, in the similar manner, in this Grand Central in the New York City, there are obviously two levels, but our protagonist, our hero, he found three levels. He found three levels, and just to give the assurance, just to tell in a very assertive manner, in a very positive manner, he told that yes, these are the evidence by which I can tell you that I went to the third level. Third level is not simply a fantasy or a something imaginative. Therefore, you will see he continues. So, he was telling, so he was wearing the dress, and when he was going, he found a particular gateway, and when he was moving through this gateway, he was just traveling, he was walking down another flight to the second level, where the suburban trains leave from. Now, this was his destination, my dear children. You see, he went to the first level, and then he walked down just like the metro railway station in Delhi. He walked down, and then he found the second level, and from there we can see there are the suburban train. The suburban train means the trains to the bordering area of the city, where there are apartments. Particularly, the apartments are there in the border of the city or the town, and there our hero lives in one of the apartment, and therefore, from this suburban train he will be directly going to his home. Therefore, he went there, but by accident what happened? He got lost. He got lost, and that is a very easy for him, and he had been there many a time, and many a time what happened? He got lost there, and therefore he told that Grand Central is growing like the roots of a tree. Now, let us continue. So, he was now see this is the picture of the third level. So, this is the picture of the Grand Central. So, now we will see. So, now he is giving the description of the tunnel that was leading him to the third level, and he is giving the example that in the earlier time also, when I had been to the Grand Central, many a time what happened, I got missed, and then I came out to different places. Therefore, this actually shows the testimony that Grand Central is growing like the roots of the tree. And then this part you will see, this part actually gives his physical description. So, when the long question comes, then you will have to tell about this experience, how he went to the third level, what is his experience, what sort of people he made, what are the substance that actually give the evidence or the proof that third level existed, what were the currencies, what did the clerk do. So, all these things you will have to tell here in order to tell that yes, Charlie went to the third level, and even though it was a hallucination, he gave the example that he had been to the third level and he took the obvious steps. I will be reading out the part and you will see the importance of it. So, you can mark the important. The corridor was began angling left and slanting downward, and I thought that was wrong, but I kept on walking. All I could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps, and I did not pass a soul. Now, he was moving towards the third level. There was no people at all. So, he heard the echo of his own footsteps. There is not a human being, not a soul there, means he was the only person that was taking the obvious step there at that time. Then I heard a sort of hollow roar ahead, that means open space and people talking. Now, see, after going down, he heard some sound of the talking of the people, and then he saw that it is an open space and there were people, they were talking. That means he reached the third level. The tunnel turned sharp left. I went down a short flight of stairs and came out on the third level at Grand Central Station. For just a moment I thought I was back on the second level, but I saw the room was smaller, there were fewer ticket windows and train gates, and the information booth in the center was wood and old looking. My dear children, so there was little confusion initially. Initially he thought that maybe he was in the second level, but he saw the substance around him. Just after seeing the substance, he saw the ticket window, and the ticket windows were very few because population was very less, and the train gates also very few in number, and the information booth or the notice board in the center was made of wood, and it was looking very old. And the man in the booth was wearing green eye shade and long black sleeve protectors. So, his dress also tells that he was in the 19th century. All this actually gives the example that he was in the 19th century, and therefore, the lights were dim and short of flickering. Then I saw why they were open flame gaslight. Now, see, now today we are having the electricity, and in those days there were less use of electricity, and there were open gaslight, and the open gaslight were flickering. All these examples, the example give the evidence that he was certainly in the third level. He went back in time. His mind was traveling to the 19th century, and his mind was traveling because he was unhappy. His mind was traveling because he was worried. He suffered from insecurity, and therefore he went to the third level. Now, let us see the next part. These are some of the examples where, so these two paragraphs will tell about the examples of his visiting the third level, and it give the confirmation that yes, he had been to the third level. Here you will see the dressing of the people, the way the people dressed. Okay. Suppose in the 70s, particularly in the 70s and 80s, you will see that the dresses of the actors and actress So, they will have the lapel of the shirt, okay. This will be bigger in size, okay. That is called the dog collar. So, like that. So, in the 19th century, the dresses of the people were different. They had the handlebar moustache. The moustache was just like handlebar, my dear children, you see. So, the moustache was just like the handlebar. So, just like the moustache of the army people. So, this actually give the proof or the testimony that he had been in the third level. I never saw so many beard, sideburns and fancy moustaches in my life. A woman walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress with a leg of mutton sleeves and skirt to the top of her high button shoes. Back of her, out on the tracks, I caught a glimpse of a locomotive, a very small courier and ice locomotive with a funnel shaped stack, and then I knew. Then what he knew? Then he knew that after seeing all this example, there is one locomotive, means that there is the steam engine. There was the engine of the train. That locomotive also gives the example that this is a old fashioned one, and therefore he certainly was in the third level. And more particularly, there were dresses, there were sideburns, there were moustaches. All this give the proof that he certainly had been in the third level. Now, let us see here. You will see he visited the third level. In order to confirm, he saw the newspaper boy. So, the newspaper boy, he had with him the paper. The name of the paper was the World, and in this particular paper, this paper already stopped. So, and it was printed June 11, 1894, means on that particular day was 11th June 1894, and the paper he saw the World, the publication of which now is stopped, and the lead story was telling something about what? Lead story, my dear children, lead story is the main story. Lead story is the main story. The main story. So, and this main story actually talk about the burning issue, and it was talking about the president. Name of the president at the time was Cleveland, and just by giving this all this example, the narrator wanted to tell us that yes, he had really been to the third level, and the third level is not a mere fantasy or a world of escapism. It is a reality, and it really existed. Now, this is the final proof. So, the final proof is that he went to the ticket counter, and then why he went to the ticket counter? As soon as he went to the third level, after going there, he wanted to go to Galesburg. My dear children, why he wanted to go to Galesburg? Because this is the particular place where he spent his childhood. This is the particular place where there is evergreen forest. There are lot of tree houses, and all this gives the attraction to the particular place. And he also remembered his childhood was spent there, and therefore he wanted to go there, and for this purpose he went to the ticket counter in order to get two tickets, one for him and another for Louisa, his wife, to go to Galesburg, and the special places is in Illinois. Therefore, so these are the particular proof you will see that he had been to the third level. And in this part he talks about the Galsberg. So there is a big old frame houses, huge lawns, tremendous trees whose branches meet overhead and roofed the street, means covered the street. So he was talking about the summer evening, and they were twice as long as today's evening, and there were palm leaf fans. So all this were the peaceful moment when the world was not facing either the World War I, which was 20 years away from that time, means 1894. You see, when 20 is added, then you will see 11, 9, 1914, means with the start of the First World War. And again another 20 years you are adding, 1934, that means the start of the Second World War. And the Second World War and the First World War, both these war were 40 and 20 years away, and therefore the time was very happy time. So we will see the clerk here. What did the clerk do? The clerk was telling that, Mister, this is not money, you cannot cheat me. So this money actually belongs to 1950, and this currency is not a legal tender. This is not the right currency, and therefore you cannot cheat me. And if you do so, then I will be reporting it to the police. And therefore, because of the fear of the police, what did Charlie did? In a hurry, he came out because jail was a jail. It was not a good thing. He was very much afraid, and instantly he came out of the third level and discovered that he is in the outer layer of the station. Now let us see the next part, my dear children. And that was that I left the same way I came, I suppose, means in a sudden manner, without an introduction, he came out. Next day, during lunch hour, I due $300. I due $300 out of the bank, nearly all we had, and bought old style currency. Now, my dear children, why he went to the bank in order to withdraw the cash? The purpose was that he was very much impressed. He was very much obsessed. O-B-S-E-S-S-E-D. He was very much obsessed. His mind was very much fixed by the idea of going to the third level, because what is it that made him to think about the third level and go there? It is the worries or sadness, the anxiety of the modern time. Therefore he went to the bank in order to get the currency or the present currency, in order to get it converted to the 19th century currency. You can buy all money at almost any coin dealers, but you have to pay a premium. My $300 bought less than 200 in old style bills, but I did not care. X were 13 cents a dozen in 1894. So he was very much fixed or obsessed in his mind, and therefore he wanted to go to the third level by hook or by crook. any way he wanted to go, it may cost him anything, and therefore what he did, he had $300 currency, and then he got it converted. He got nearly 200 in old currency bill, and then he said, I don't mind, even then I want to go to the third level with this much cash that I have, and it will be suffice. It will be sufficient for both of us to make the journey comfortably. Therefore, now let us see the next part, my dear children. The question now arises whether he will be successful in reaching the third level. So, what is your opinion? Will he get to the third level? No. Why no? Because third level never exists. It exists only in the world of fantasy or the dream. It only exists in the world of imagination or hallucination. Imagination or hallucination. Let us see the word hallucination. Hallucination. So, he was deluded, okay, he was deluded by the idea of reaching the third level, and therefore what he did, he made all out effort in order to reach there, but he did not get there because the third level actually indicated his imaginative mind. It actually indicated his worries of the modern time. Then let us see what it tells. But I have never again found the corridor that leads to the third level at a Grand Central Station, although I have tried often enough. He left no stone unturned, means he did all out effort. All out effort was made by him in order to find for or constantly searching for the third level, but he could not get it. He could not get it. He did not get the particular corridor or the gateway that leads him to the third level on the earlier occasion. But his search was continuous, and he continuously began to search it, and then he will be telling it to his wife that this happened to do me. I went to the third level. So, now my dear children, the wife will be happy or unhappy initially? Certainly, the wife will be unhappy because he may be unhappy with his wife also, his life also. Therefore, the wife may be unhappy when he tells that he went to the third level, and he want to go to that particular place called Kells Park. Now let us see what the writer tells. Louisa was pretty worried when I told her all this, and did not want me to look for the third level anymore, and after a while I stopped. So initially he shared his experience with Louisa, and Louisa was very much worried about him because it appears that he was not very happy, and she also gave the warning to Charlie that he in future he will never search for the third level anymore. If he searches for, then it is ominous for him. It is inauspicious for him. It is not good for him. Therefore, just by abiding by the suggestion of the wife, he stopped searching for. But finally, what he did, I went back to my stamp. Means this stamp also is a hobby, and therefore his hobby of collecting the stamp was continued. And this is, my dear children, is also another way of taking shelter or refuge in the world of fantasy or imagination. Then let us see. But now we are both looking every weekend, because now we have proof that the third level is still there. Now see, this wife and husband, so this spouse, what did they do? When they were talking in their discussion, finally it was very much confirmed that the third level exists, and therefore there was agreement or the consensus between this wife and the husband, and therefore what they did earlier, Charlie was searching for the third level all alone, and now both of them begin to search for it, because they thought that the third level really existed. Now, my dear children, he will be telling something about his childhood, the childhood of Charlie. My friend Sam Werner disappeared. Nobody knew where, but I sort of suspected, because Sam's a city boy. My dear children, let us see up to this. I sort of suspected. What is the kind of the suspicion or the doubt that actually come or creep into the mind of our narrator? So the doubt was, what is the doubt? The doubt was that he certainly went to Galsburg. Why he doubted it? Because he knew that his friend, like any other modern man, is very much drawn or pulled by the description of Galsburg and wanted to get a relaxation, and therefore wanted peace of mind, and therefore wanted to deeper to that particular world, the world of 1894. Therefore, his disappearance, all of a sudden it was discovered that Sam Werner was not seen at all. He disappeared, he vanished, he was not seen at all. And he suspected that maybe he was very much impressed by the description, and therefore in the heart of his heart he decided that he will be going to that particular place which was beautifully described by Charlie. Because he was very much impressed, he wanted to go there. Let us see. But I sort of suspected, because Sam's a city boy, and I used to tell him about Galsburg. I went to the school there, and he always said he liked the sound of the place, and that's where he is all right in 1894. Now, my dear children, so the narrator, I the narrator, he was sharing his experience, the childhood experience of going to the school, the primary school, where there was the water body, maybe the sea or the river, and then the sound of the sea or the river constantly haunted the mind of the writer, the narrator. And therefore, when this description was given, Sam, who was a city boy, he never had this sort of experience, and therefore he decided, because he liked those sounds, he liked the natural surrounding, and therefore he decided that he will certainly go to that particular place, and therefore his doubt is a very pure doubt that he went to Galsburg. Now we will see with some evidence that he was really in Galsburg. Now let us see, my dear children. Because one night, fussing with my stamp collection, I found, well, do you know what a first day cover is? First day cover is when a new stamp is issued, stamp collector by some and send the same to themselves. Let us see this bird. And use them to mail envelopes to themselves on the very first day of sale, and the postmark proved the date. The envelope is called the first day cover. So, the first day cover is an envelope. When a particular stamp is released on a day, then what does the stamp collector do? They send it through an envelope, and inside the envelope there will be a blank sheet, and this will be sent to their own address, so that they can see when this stamp was issued, because the postmark proves the date. The postmark tells about the date, and all of a sudden what happened? Our narrator Charlie, all of a sudden one day discovered an envelope, a first day cover. After seeing this first day cover, he now begin to confirm that yes, the third level exists. Yes, Sam Weiner, who was vanished or who disappeared all of a sudden, was in the third level. Therefore, now let us see this part where Sam Weiner is writing a letter, and the letter is inside the envelope, and the envelope is no other than the first day cover. Let us proceed. That night among my oldest first day covers, I found one that should not have been there, but there it was. Very surprising thing, my dear children. So, that particular night, one night, what he was doing? He was searching for the first day covers. And among this, he actually noticed one first day cover that was not supposed to be there. So, now let us see the description about that particular first day cover. Let us see. It was there because someone had mailed it to my grandfather at his home in Galesburg. That is what the address on the envelope said, and it had been there since July 1894. My dear children, now we will see that he found. There is a lot of suspense here. So, now you give your full attention so that we understand this, how this first day cover tells that our Sam Weiner, the psychiatrist who treats the element of the mind, went back to 1894, and the postmark tells that it was July 1894, and this was addressed to the grandfather who was in his home in Galesburg, and the postmark showed the date. Yet I did not remember it at all. The stamp was a 6-cent dull brown with a picture of President Garfield. So, the president, the postmark actually bear the picture of the President of the United States of America, the President Garfield, and the color was dull brown, and he paid 6 cents for it. So, this is the specification of the stamp. Naturally, when the envelope came to granddad in the mail, it went right into his collection and stayed there till I took it out and opened it. So, naturally what happened, So, he is the descendant, Charlie is the descendant of the granddad or the grandfather. This was addressed to him, the grandfather, and then naturally it came down to him, because he was the natural owner of the letter. And then because of that, what he did, he looked at it and opened it. So, normally what happened, the first day covers are not open. It is just for hobby, for fun, and just knowing the date of opening the stamp that it is issued, otherwise it is not open. But here you will see inside it there is a paper. Paper usually is a blank, but here it is something is written, and it is the letter that is written by whom? Written by Sam Weiner, addressed to Charlie, the protagonist. So, now what does this letter tells? Let us see this letter. (941) Willard Street, Galesburg, Illinois, July 1894. This is the date on which Sam Weiner wrote the letter, and the place is Galesburg, and the street is Willard Street, and it is addressed to Charlie. As it is a old type of letter, and therefore the address of the writer is on the right side. Now, according to CBSE, it is in the left side. Everything will come the left side. Therefore, in the letter what is written, I got to wishing that you were right, then I got to believing you were right, and Charlie, it is true, I found the third level. When the things are repeated, that actually tells that yes, this is right, yes, this is right. So, such is the thing here you will see. So, Sam Weiner was telling that yes, when you were telling that there was a third level, initially I did not believe, but after reaching here I come to know that yes, third level exists, third level is there. I got to believing you were right, means you were right, and you were right, you were true. I found the third level. He said that yes, I discovered the third level, and now I am now living there. Okay. Then what does this letter tells? I have been here 2 weeks, means for the last 2 weeks I have been living here. Right now, down to the street at the delis, someone is playing a piano. Someone is playing a piano, and they are all out on the front porch, singing Nelly home. Now, see, this is a picture. This particular picture actually tells that the people are very, very peaceful. The people are enjoying peace, and here we will see the children, what the people and everybody was doing. So, he was there in the street at Delhi's, and somebody was playing the piano, and all the people were there in the front of their veranda, and they were singing the tune, Sing Nelly Home. And I am invited over for lemonade. The people are very friendly there, not like the people today in the city or in the urban areas. They do not know each other, but here in the countryside in Galesburg, people are so friendly. They are good Samaritan. They love each other. They come to the rescue of the other instantly. And what they did? They actually invited me to a gathering, to a social gathering, and this gathering or the party is lemonade party. Come on back, Charlie and Luja, keep looking till you find the third level. It is worth, believe me. So now he is now suggesting. So the tune of the writer, that is Sam Weiner, changes now. He is telling that, my dear friend, so hurry up. So you come back, you go on searching for the third level. It is of course there, and I have found it. I have started my business here. My earlier business I stopped. I now started a new business here, and you just believe me, this place is really worthy of searching for. It is a worthy place to be sought, to be found out. Therefore, you do not fail to search for it. And towards the end you will see. So here towards the end he is writing yours, okay, yours, Sam. This is written. Now, my dear children, let us come to the last part. At the stamp and the coin store I go to, I found out that Sam bought $800 worth of old style currency that ought to set him up in a nice little hay, wheat and grain business. My dear children, so Sam Weiner, you will see, he was a psychiatrist. So what is the profession of Sam Weiner? He was a psychiatrist. So psychiatrist is a person who treats the ailment or the disease of the psyche or the soul. Psyche or the soul, P-S-Y-C-H-E, psyche or the soul or the heart. Soul or the heart means he is the doctor of the heart in the modern time. But what happened? He went to the third level, and after going there, his profession became extinct, invalid, and therefore he pursued or followed a new profession, and the profession was up to the particular age, and the profession was hay, wheat and grain business. Because what happened, the narrator went to the currency stall, and after going to that particular shop or the currency counter, he come to understand that his friend Sam Weiner went there, and he bought $800 currency, and he converted it or changed it, and then he started this new business there, the business of hay, wheat and grain business, because the profession that he was pursuing at a time, in the modern time, is not up to that particular age in the 19th century, that is in 1894. Therefore, according to the time, he changed his profession, and this actually also tells that yes, the third level exists. Now, my dear children, you will see in this particular lesson, you will see. So, the readers are constantly at a loss what to decide whether the third level is there or not. So, what is your opinion now? The third level is there or not? So, sometime you are told, yes, third level is a particular means by which the modern man make an exit to the other world in order to get some relief. Again you will see that yes, he went to the third level, he saw everything was very different. Therefore, you will see that the human being, he saw the currency, he saw the window, he noticed, and more particularly, he saw his friend also visited there. He wrote a letter that was discovered in the first cover. All this actually testimony tells that the third level exists. Now, it is you to decide what is the fact. The fact is that the third level is non-existent. It is a fantastic world. It is a fantastic world. he indulges in fantasy, and it was a media for his rest of the mind from the worries, from the insecurity, stress of the modern life. Therefore, to conclude, we can tell the third level, the worries of the modern life, all sort of worries, the sorrows, disappointment, insecurity, the problem, all this works as catalyst. In order to go to the other time, in order to go to the other time. Therefore, this other time, traveling to the other time or the other world, is the third level that the writer Jack Finney wanted to mean. My dear children, I suppose you understood. Therefore, I will meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, see you again.